Welcome to Showboys, a podcast that delves into the world of film and TV. Hosts Nick and Mike take their water cooler talk from the office to the web as they discuss their favorite movies, shows, and all other content in between. In this week's episode, the boys are joined by Chad from That's Strange and discuss their gaming goals for 2021 and the return of Craig. So, what's playing? Oh, that's going to be the longest outro ever. Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Showboys, your hopefully favorite movie and film and gaming podcast. If it's not, then that makes us sad. But my name is Mike, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host and good friend Nick. Nick, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing splendid. I'm gonna steal your line from last week. Perfectly splendid.
Perfect.
And to continue on with our what seems to be monthly trend of our video game episode of Showboys, we are also joined by our good friend Chad. How's it going, Chad? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Pretty good, man. Excited to be back again. I think I said that last time I was here, but I'm just as excited.
Sweet. We are also equally as excited to have you back. It's always fun to have you on and talk, and especially about video games. So yeah, we're pretty excited about our episode tonight, which is our gaming goals for 2021. We're 7 days into the new year, or 7 days extended of 2020 if you have been paying attention at all to anything that's happening in the real world. Maybe
Right?
2020 didn't really end. But we thought that it would be fun to, start off the new year, with maybe, I guess you could also call this, our gaming, New Year's resolutions, I guess, if you will. Yeah, so it just felt right to have you on as you are our unofficial resident video game guest.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
So,
think we had like one topic last time and we went like 2.5 hours. So
oh yeah. So buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go. That's a funny like sidebar, which is why our episodes run like 2.5 hours because we have like a million sidebars. But um, yeah, Nick and I we just so people know, we have tons of conversations like throughout the week. Like, what can we do to kind of like trim down the length of some of our episodes? Because like we don't we're kind of in like a like we kind of have a little dilemma where we're like we want our conversation and our episodes for our podcast to be natural and organic and just literally like a conversation. So we don't write scripts or anything. We each come with our own notes. We don't share our notes with each other. So like we're hearing each other's points of view for the first time while we're recording. So the responses are natural and everything just seems natural and flows like an actual conversation. And so we don't want to lose that, but also we don't we don't want to have like 2.5 hour episodes every single week, because that's probably a lot to get through if you don't have a boring office desk job like Nick and I, where we can
yeah,
just throw
yeah.
an episode on and just leave it run all day, basically.
Yeah.
So,
But if you, I mean, I think the longer episodes are more trending now because if you look at like some of the top podcasts, Joe Rogan runs for like 4 hours.
yeah,
So I think I
yeah,
don't think 2.5 hours is, like, insulting by any stretch of the imagination. But It depends on what you're doing, I guess, when you're listening to it. If you're, like, driving to work, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, then you probably want a shorter podcast, but, like, if you're mowing like, I always listen to my podcast when I'm mowing
Mm.
in the summertime, and it takes me, like, 2 hours to mow, so I'd rather have one podcast episode to listen the whole way, so I don't have to be stopping and swapping and all that.
Right, right. That's always a pain in the butt. But yeah, so here we are, 2021. We're going to talk about what our personal gaming goals are for the year. Um, so why don't you kind of? I mean, I'm sure we've gone over your gaming history and stuff. The other episodes that you've been on, but why don't you just give a little recap of like your gaming life? I guess like I
Okay, yeah,
know
I
that
can do
you're
that.
like kind of like a hardcore gamer.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen your Facebook posts and your platinum pictures.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, why don't you just give
Funny,
us a
that's
little?
foreshadowing for later in the episode.
Oh,
But, I started playing games when I was a kid, probably like everybody on a well, not like everybody, I was on Sega, and we talked about this in the last episode. I was, like, the only kid that had a Sega, and then transitioned from Sega to the PS1, and then I really for the most part, I've stuck to PlayStation since the PlayStation 1. I had, like Mike said in the last episode, like, a little break with the 360, and then I got right back to PlayStation, so,
I
um
equate my 360 experience as like your college years, right? Where
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah, right. Your
you just gotta
curious
go
years.
find yourself, you know.
Yeah, it's
The
true.
funny thing is those were my college years, was the 360. That's the console I had.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah,
yeah,
sorry, I didn't
I
mean to interrupt. Go ahead,
No,
continue.
no, no, you're fine. I took a little break on the 360 and played the typical stuff, Halo, all multiplayer stuff, Call of Duty, Halo. And then right around the end of that generation, I got super burnout on multiplayer games. I was just like, I'm making a pact to myself that I wanna get back to playing the games that I played when I was a kid, that I actually have to use my brain to play instead of just aimlessly running around and shooting things. So, PlayStation had the Uncharted series, and that's kind of what got me back into single player games was Uncharted, and I really haven't let up since. And that probably a couple years ago, probably 10 years ago, was my gaming goal was to stop playing multiplayer games every time I sat down. Stop being like Mike and playing League of Legends every time I sit down. And I've stuck to it pretty good. And I'm much happier now that I'm just like that's like my alone time, you know?
Nice. Well, that gives me hope that it is possible.
You can
It's
recover, it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible to
It's
get
a
that
long road.
needle out of the arm.
Yes. It is, it is.
Um, so would you say that like do you play like every night? Um, I know we all three are married and have children, so our gaming time probably isn't as much as it was, pre children or pre marriage. But do you play like every night, every couple days? Like, what are your playing habits like?
I in some capacity, play a game every single day, whether it's for 30 minutes or a couple hours. No matter what, I'm really playing every single day, and I think that's because my kids are a little bit older now, and for
Mm,
the most part, they just kinda do their own thing all day, you know?
right.
And now they're starting to get into games, so they're really big into, like, Breath of the Wild on the Switch, and,
Nice.
so we all just hang out and play games, it's pretty sweet.
That is pretty sweet. So Nick, sir,
Mhm.
why don't you tell us a little bit about your gaming backstory and habits?
Yeah, so, console-wise, very similar to Chad here. I was really the first console, though, was PlayStation 1, 360, PlayStation 4 is really kind of the console history. PlayStation 2 in there as well. Skip the PlayStation 3.
Mm,
Mm, simultaneously, like shortly after the PlayStation, I got like a 1995 Toshiba laptop, which I played like Age of Empires on a lot. So that was my first computer game. So ever since, probably like 2002, I've played on a computer. Um, and I'm just big into a lot of simulation, survival type games, single player, of course. Usually like to save those single player RPGs for the console, but I'm starting to explore those in the computer. But yeah, always was a jump back to like the older stuff from like the 90s and before. For my brother and sister, I had an NES, so like that was really the first thing I ever played. Was all those kind of like side scroller platformers, which has a lot of nostalgia to it. And actually on the computer early on, like at like Walmart or wherever, they had one of those where they ported the Sega games over to computer, and so there's a handful of Sega games. I'll talk about a couple that I played in that format, uh, kind of in the 2000s, and I'm kind of might be getting back into them now.
Nice. How often do you get to play?
Um, really between watching things for Showboys content.
Yes, research, of course.
Yeah, research for Showboys podcast here.
Oh gosh, you
And
guys got it so
gaming.
rough.
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah, dude, you have no idea. This show is so hard.
I juggle between that, so I would say maybe like 4 nights a week I can get around to some sort of
Nice.
game. Maybe to like Chad's point, where like every day in some capacity I play a game. That was definitely relevant when I was playing like Pokemon Go. That's pretty easy to always be playing.
Yeah, but that's not fair because you literally live like at a stop.
I know, right? My house is one lot from being on the stop, which I was really bummed out about. That I had to leave my house and go a house down to hit it, but that's beside the point. But yeah, I would say a solid 4 nights a week. Some weeks more than others. Depends on how much Showboys research needs done.
Right. Yeah, so I think it's a good idea to establish some sort of like baseline before we go into our goals, just so the listeners have, some point of reference to maybe try to understand our goals, But for myself, I started with Super Nintendo, and then just kind of became a Sony person. Like Chad, I had a PlayStation 1. But like in that weird time between Super Nintendo and PlayStation, I at one point had like a Dreamcast. Had my stint on, my fair share of Game Boy platforms. Thank you, Pokemon. But yeah, basically PlayStation 1, bought like a used PlayStation 2 off of somebody from my middle school. Got a 360, then got a PS3, and then a PS4. And then also kind of in between the 360 and the PS3, I dabbled in World of Warcraft, which became less of dabbling and more of like being a full-on addiction for several years. You'll see.
I mean, that's how
that's
everybody does World of
yeah.
Warcraft, so
I mean,
it's not out of the
just
normal.
It's kind of a pattern in my life with things I
Right.
enjoy.
Right.
But yeah, then once I finally was able to pull the plug, like literally, I had that's another sidebar. So hacking and stealing World of Warcraft accounts was like a big deal back in the day. And to protect myself from that, I purchased a keychain authenticator, right? That would randomly generate a
Right.
6 or 7 digit code that you would type into your computer after you logged in to like confirm it was you, so nobody could steal your account.
Right.
I had to throw my authenticator away, so I couldn't log into WoW.
Throw away the keys.
I literally had to throw it away. And
that's fair. It's
in
like
the
it's like
future,
somebody flushing their cigarettes down the toilet so they can't smoke them
exactly.
anymore.
I just like opened the pill bottle, dumped them all down the toilet, and
Yep.
flushed it. But then it came back to bite me because, like, how long ago did we start playing Heroes of the Storm, Nick? Probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2016, I think. 2017.
Okay, that makes sense. When a group of us from work started playing Blizzard's version of League of Legends, I had to create a new Battle.net account because my old one, I literally couldn't get into it because I didn't have my authenticator.
You didn't have your authenticator.
So
oh man,
and then later on, like I ended up playing Shadowlands, so I like had to get in touch with Blizzard customer support for them to unlock that account. So now I have 2 Battle.net accounts, one for Heroes of the Storm and one for World of Warcraft. But
did you open with, listen, I had to throw away my authenticator key. I just need my account back.
I forget, but I probably would do something like that, which leads to another hilarious like sidebar story that is completely unrelated to anything. So I'm not going to go into it, but maybe I'll tell you guys after we're done recording because it's hilarious and shows that I have absolutely no shame and would do something like that. But yeah, so played WoW for a while. Then, you know, in the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 days, I was really sucked into the single player story type games like Uncharted and The Last of Us and all that good stuff. But then something happened when our oldest daughter was born. I made the shift from PlayStation to PC just simply out of like logistical reasons. I had a laptop and my PlayStation was in my basement. So it was easier for me to play on my laptop, like in the kitchen or whatever, when I was trying to get our newborn to fall asleep in her swing before I would put her to bed. Instead of like being all the way down the basement, having to like pause, run up the stairs all the time, all that stuff. So out of, you know, like convenience of parenting,
survival.
Yeah, exactly.
Survival.
I started playing League of Legends on my laptop, and boy, did I not realize how big of a mistake that would turn out to be.
Well, we can also
Here we are,
appreciate
almost 6 years later, and I like literally play it every single day and have played it every single day for the last 6 years, which is absolutely
all the League of Legends, like, but when that first started coming out and like I first started seeing friends of mine play it, they all seem to start off on like the laptop somewhere. It's almost like, you know, in some alley somewhere, you're getting your fix. It starts off on like the old laptop because it runs on everything,
right.
and you're just like in the corner of your house,
sitting
on a bench at the park, wherever, just getting your fix.
Yeah,
and then you buy a whole computer for it.
Yeah. And it sucked because like I was really, well, I mean, it didn't suck because I have a lot of fun playing it, but like I was a trophy hunter on PlayStation. Like I was right in the heat of all the Batman Arkham games because I remember getting, the only reason I remember this is because I just literally bought this game yesterday for $5 on Steam. But I had just gotten Arkham Knight for my birthday, the year my daughter was born. And literally played it for like 30 minutes, like total, because my console days had come to an end. And I ended up selling my PlayStation a couple years ago and all my games. And there were like so many games that I had that I wanted to play that I never did because of League of Legends, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, today I'm strictly a PC gamer. I have no console. And yeah, basically just stuck in the whirlpool of League of Legends.
I had a pretty similar story as far as when my son was born. So, one of my favorite, and it's probably like top 5 series for me, is Grand Theft Auto.
Mhm.
And it started with Grand Theft Auto 3, like everybody did probably, and I just love Grand Theft Auto. So, Grand Theft Auto 5, I'm eagerly awaiting because I also have like an obsession with Los Angeles, and it's set in Los Angeles, and I'm eagerly awaiting this game. It's like literally probably my most hyped game that I've been alive for. I watched the trailers literally every single day. I was so amped for this game. And it was supposed to come in the summer of 2013 originally. And I think probably like maybe towards the beginning of 2013, it got delayed. And my wife was pregnant at the time, and it got delayed to the exact day that my son was born. Okay. So
Oh wow.
my most hyped game of all time that I've literally been waiting for, like, it was like 4 or 5 years in between Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5. And it gets delayed to the exact day that my oldest son is born. So it's like I have terrible luck as it is. And then you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just everything works against me in some capacity. So I used to, when we first, with our first kid, we took shifts. So
Mhm.
because we were both working, well, she wasn't working, she was off, but I was working. So we would swap, like, I'd get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and then stay up all night. And then she would get up at 7, and then we'd swap, and I'd go sleep and she'd stay up with the kid. So I would literally play Grand Theft Auto 5 the entire time that I was awake, from like 1 a.m. till 8 a.m. or whatever the
Nice.
thing was.
Yeah, not that anyone particularly cares about m- me and my wife's sleeping habits or
Yeah, true.
parenting, but like um yeah, my wife is not a night person and I am a night person, so it just so happened that like during the newborn phase, if the girls couldn't didn't get to sleep before my wife did, basically, like, it was up to me to get them to bed or get them to sleep and then into bed so she could get to sleep. And we also didn't she nursed and didn't do formula or bottles, so
Right.
she also kind of had to go to bed early because she would have to be up throughout the night for feeding and stuff, because I can't nurse them, so I kind of got the the
Yeah,
easy
right.
end of the stick there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that kind of also played into the whole you know gaming on the laptop.
Right.
And
I gotta be honest. I like it's like one of my favorite times in life, having a
yeah,
newborn kid and playing the game that I've been waiting for 8 years. It was awesome.
yeah, man, I had a similar situation, not about playing games, but when our oldest was born, uh, that's when I discovered the professional gaming scene. Uh, like I blew through all the TV shows that I was watching at the time, which sadly were like the CW Green Arrow
Uh-huh.
show and
Oh no.
Flash.
Oh no.
And then like we don't have cable or anything. We have Roku's, which I don't know if you guys know what Roku's are, but it's like a Chromecast or Fire Stick,
Yeah, it's
or
like a fire stick.
right. So they had like an MLG app, and then they had a Twitch app, and I would
Oh
just go
yeah,
on
man. I
the
remember
MLG.
MLG.
Yeah,
I used
I
to
would
watch
go.
MLG stuff all the time when I was playing Halo.
Yeah, so I'd go on MLG and find like pro Dota matches or pro Call of Duty matches, and then I discovered the pro League of Legends scene and have been a fan ever since and follow it as religiously as I do the Cleveland Browns or the Cleveland
Yeah.
baseball team.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Cleveland baseball
Unnamed.
team. Yeah.
yeah,
Unnamed.
yeah, pending name. But
Pending name. Yeah.
so like you, Chad and Nick, I tend to I haven't been so much of recent times, like the last month or so, but typically at nighttime, since my wife tends to go to bed earlier than I do, I sneak down onto the computer and tend to play an hour or two every night for the most part. But yeah, that's kind of where we all sit. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
So I
You hang
guess,
on 1 second though. I
yeah,
gotta
sure.
open a couple sidebars here.
Okay.
One's for Mike and the other one's for Nick. I need to know, A, did you finish Jedi Fallen Order?
No, not yet.
No.
But I will
Regretfully.
talk
Okay.
about it once we get going.
Okay. We'll leave that for later. And then I just wanted to unpack Nick's older games that he was going to talk about and he never did.
I'm gonna start off with that, but I mean I'll get to them.
Okay.
We're talking
I'll
about
just shut up then.
you're talking about my Sega one.
Yeah. Whatever. You said
Yeah.
that you were getting back into older
Yeah.
games. I just was
Why don't
curious.
you start us off then, Nick, with the goals if that's one of your goals.
Yeah. Well, first I want to sidebar something you said, Mike.
Oh, so many sidebars. I love it.
Yeah.
Many
When you said that you bought your PlayStation 2, I think, off of someone from school, right?
hmm
I would like just to take like a flashback to the days of hustling, just kids, trading games, whether or even like cards or even entire consoles. Like remember when you put your console like in your backpack, take it to
Oh,
school,
yeah.
and you're doing
Well,
something
no, I
like
never did that because I'm not a lunatic, but
I just feel like that. I mean, maybe that still does happen.
dude,
I don't know.
okay. I love the sidebar, so I'm gonna have so much fun with this. So back in my middle school days, this should not be a shock to anyone that knows me. I was like really into Pokemon trading cards, and then that led me down the trading card rabbit hole and getting me into Yu-Gi-Oh trading cards.
The
And
evolution.
dude, okay, first off, I won't talk about this too much because I don't want to completely derail the episode, but like they used to have Pokemon trading card like league nights. I don't know what the proper term is, but at Borders, like I forget what the day was, but let's just say it was Tuesday night. Every Tuesday night, you could go to Borders from like 7 to 9 in the little cafe area, which Borders no longer exists in our area, maybe period. But it's the old Books a Million used to be
Yeah.
Yeah.
Borders.
It's like
Um,
exactly the same if you go
Yeah,
in
it's
there.
literally the same thing. But in the cafe area, they had that like sectioned off, and it was just like middle school / early high school, and then like grown adult loser people like I am now,
Wow.
that would go and just like play against each other with their Pokemon decks and stuff and like trade cards, and they even had like little books and you get stamps, and when you got so many stamps you get like a little badge or like
Multiplayer.
little promo like special cards or whatever that they would give out. And I used to go to that like every week, and it was so fun. But then when I started getting into Yu-Gi-Oh, me and my friend from middle school, his name was Alex, we would hustle this kid that like he would babysit, whose parents were super rich, so like he had all these crazy cards, and we would like bet on our matches and be like, if you win, you can have this card, but if I win, I want that card. And like
That's fantastic,
it was
man.
it was something else. Those were the days, man.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds absolutely amazing. I didn't really I was into Pokemon cards, but to be honest with you, don't think I ever played the game
Oh, the
that they
game's
were.
so fun.
Yeah, I never played. I just collected them, and then by the time I got to like middle school and high school, I started playing poker, and that became kind of my card game.
So
But we did
you
the
got
same thing.
cool.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Yeah.
You actually grew up. So then I won't tell you the story about how a couple years ago, me and my one friend Ryan actually got a few Pokemon decks and started playing against each other again.
I mean, I've always wanted to play, but I feel like they're like at my school, it was just people collecting. Like nobody
Yeah.
was playing. It was really
Yeah.
weird.
No, that makes sense. And then one last middle school story from me, since you brought it up, Nick, about bringing consoles in your backpack.
Mhm. Good memories.
I found a Game Boy Advance or an SP one of those two in the parking lot walking home from school one day, and it was like the best day of my life. And that's why I never brought any console or anything with me
True.
because
No, yeah. I mean, it was always like a high
Right.
stakes operation
Yeah.
because you brought it for a specific reason. Either you're like trading, like I think I'm pretty sure I bought a console at school, and I've definitely sold consoles at school. Um, man, but I just yeah, it was an operation, and then there's a whole thing of like the teachers were on to you. Not that it was a problem, but they're always just kind of extra hovery if they know you're probably looked like you're doing something shady, but it's like, yeah, we're just trading consoles, buy,
is
sell
that a
games.
is that a PS3 in your backpack, or are we about to go? Never mind, I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna go there. Yeah, two pop filters were almost not enough for. Anyways, so yeah, Nick, why don't you start us off with with your gaming goals for 2021?
Okay, yeah, I can do that. I think oddly enough, and I think I'm putting it off for good reason, but I mean, probably my biggest goal is to play Jedi Fallen Order. I ought to purchase it. I think I'm just putting it off for no reason. Maybe because I know as soon as I buy it, I'm just gonna play it and play it and play it.
Mm.
Which isn't a bad thing, but
Kind
that's
of the
definitely
point, right?
yeah, it is. But I think I want to really dedicate some time to it, and maybe I'm just not there yet. Because I'm getting sidetracked with other goals. But that's probably my biggest goal.
Yeah,
Because obviously you've been playing it, you have nothing but good things to say about it, and I haven't heard anything bad about it.
yeah,
And
yeah, and
then
probably doesn't help. Just me constantly talking about Star Wars stuff with you. Also, feed into the Star Wars.
Right. It's probably
Yeah,
making that itch way worse.
yeah,
maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'm always thinking about Star Wars, anyways. My
true.
my
That's
brain is
valid.
basically full of just prequel memes. Like that's just my brain. Everything's a prequel quote.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, that the high ground cake I saw today. That was just too much.
Yeah, dude. Chad, I don't know if I told this to you or not, but like on our podcast Instagram, because we had been posting so much about Star Wars because of the Mandalorian companion series, all the suggested and like promoted accounts or whatever that show up in your feed, especially when
Yeah.
you don't like you're not following a ton of people, it's like 95% Star Wars accounts. So like
Yeah. Well, I
literally,
mean, it's funny you say that because if you look back at like our past 40 text messages,
oh yeah,
I
it's
think
all
39 of
screen grabs.
them are screen grabs of memes from Star Wars.
Yeah,
It was
yep.
it was pretty good the day where I realized the day he found the prequel memes, like the Revenge of the Sith memes, because you just start sharing them, or I don't know what it was, but you're just like, wow. I'm like, yeah, you fell into a hole there.
Yeah, sure.
They don't end, and every
Yeah.
every day that you can tie another trending thing to that, those quotes.
To
It's
one of
great.
those quotes. Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's literally my favorite thing about my Star Wars journey so far has just been like
Meme
discovering
gold
the
mine.
amazingness of all of these memes.
Yeah, it's definitely a black hole, but I can't remember if we talked about this before, but if you get on like the Star Wars wiki, I don't know if you've ever been on there, but that for
Mm.
me is such a black hole because I mean, you just click on one thing after another, and it's like 6 hours later you're waking up and you don't even know where you're at or what happened to your life. You just spent 6 hours reading
Yeah.
wikis on Star Wars.
You just
Before
described my League of Legends, like
yeah.
whenever
Yeah,
I
right.
open the client, that's exactly what happens. So that's a good goal there, Nick, to
Thanks.
get the Fallen Order. I will build on that, but I would like to hear what Chad's first gaming goal of 2021 is.
So my first gaming goal is to attempt to try and give my Switch a little bit more love than I've given it since I've owned it, really. I played one game on it, and I really haven't touched it since.
Nice.
So,
What
and I
what did
feel
you
like
play?
I played Breath of the Wild, which I think is
Okay.
what probably everybody buys the Switch for, or at least bought the Switch for originally. And it was awesome. I mean, I dumped a colossal amount of hours into it. Probably like, if you look at my thing now, it's like 200 something hours into that game.
Dang,
So
bro.
I want to find something similar to that on the Switch because it's like just collecting dust, and I feel like it's as far as Nintendo goes, it's one of the best systems they made in probably 20 years, 15 years maybe. So that's a big goal of mine, is to try and pick up some more games for the Switch and kind of give the PS5 a little break because I've been running it pretty hard here since I got it.
You
Nice.
know, when they hit the mark, they really hit the mark. So, like you said, it's probably been 20 years since they hit the mark that high. But to come out with a game for which a majority of a console's purchases are to play that game that you also own, that's a pretty good hit right there.
Oh yeah,
But
it's major. Yeah.
but it's also how much that they kind of just bottom out too with their past
Yeah.
consoles and games. It's just they go from one extreme to the next in my mind.
Yeah, and it's not in your mind; it's in reality because it's like after the SNES was the 64, which had like one of the most bizarre controllers I've ever seen in my life, and it was not a comfortable. Like, I know a lot of people love their 64. I never had a 64. I couldn't stand the controller.
It's a
And
Naboo
then
Starfighter.
right, yeah, and then the GameCube came out, and that's like literally one of my favorite controllers of all time, the GameCube controller.
Mm.
So then the Wii, so they hit big with the Wii, and I think the main reason they hit big with the Wii is because they got everybody's grandma to play video games, which is not a bad thing.
Literally, the whole family could use the Wii.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like, my dad played video games with me, like, not very frequently when I was a kid. We had one game that we played together all the time, and when I got a Wii, he borrowed it and literally stayed up like all night for like every night of
Nice.
the week for a week trying to get 300 on the bowling game on Wii. I'm like, Dad, what did this do to you? Turned you into a gamer all of a sudden.
Gotta get 300.
Yeah.
So then they tried to ride that like that Wii wave with the Wii U, and the Wii U is a total failure in my eyes.
Yeah.
Even though I have one sitting upstairs, but it literally hasn't been touched since we bought it, I think.
Yeah, I
And then
actually also have a Wii U hiding in my back room somewhere.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that we bought it for my youngest kid one Christmas for Wii bowling. And I opted to go with that because I wanted to play Wind Waker HD, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD,
Mhm.
and it's only on the Wii U, so I think that's why we opted for it. And I played like probably an hour of it, and I was like, okay, it's not as good as I remember it being, but
Yeah, that's always been my, I guess, beef with Nintendo is they just don't like do anything.
yeah, I feel
You
like
know what I mean?
they're a toy company that makes toys for the people that love their toys. That's how I see them. Because
Yeah.
up until the Switch, they're branching a little more third party stuff onto the Switch now. But up until the Switch, it was just like you bought that for Mario and Zelda. That's
Yeah.
what you're buying a Nintendo system for, which are good games. Don't get me wrong, but you know you got to innovate at some point, and they have innovated to a extent. But like it's like Nick said, they're drastic changes left and right every time. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's a good one. It's always a good idea to show some love to your other ancillary things, you know. Um,
sure.
but my first goal here for 2021 is going to be actually to finish the Fallen Order. um,
Kind of spoiled that one earlier. Sorry.
yeah, no, it's good. Because if you didn't spoil it, Nick would have spoiled it. Because yeah. Um, But no, this this is actually a big step for me. Now, I will preface this with saying that I bought. Well, first off, the whole reason I wanted to play this game is because of my current Star Wars journey. Piqued my interest and happened to go on sale on Steam, so I got it for like $25 or something. Which still
that's
isn't
a
really
steal
like
for that game.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not Steam cheap, but that's cheap for that game.
yeah. So I decided to give it a go. It just so happened to be, right in this lull of League of Legends where like the ranked season ended in November and the new ranked season starts tomorrow. So this is the one random time, well, it's not random. The one time of the year that I really don't play League of Legends that much because there's no point to, because ranked matches don't matter anymore.
Right.
So I was like, I'm like really, really going, feet first into the Star Wars stuff. This game looks really cool, and I heard the story is actually really good. So it's on sale. It's not going to hurt anything. Just get it. Just put it on. And I also have a like cheap GameStop Xbox controller that I have for the computer here. Because some games I just don't like playing with the mouse and keyboard. And this
Right.
is one of those games where it's like
For sure. Yeah.
perfect for a controller, and I absolutely would hate playing with the mouse and keyboard. So I plug in the controller, fire it up, and holy crap, I love this game. It's so fun. Like, I mean, Uncharted and mixed with the Arkham games, but you're a Jedi in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Don't understand how that could not be good.
Right. Yeah.
So, I don't know what my progress is like story wise, but I've played it quite a bit. Actually, I'm not going to talk about anything story wise because I don't want to spoil it for Nick whenever he gets it, but I feel like I'm making some progress. And I think that I fully intend to finish it. Now, how that's going to look after tomorrow, I don't know. But I'm saying it here, and it is recorded. It will be around forever on the internet
It's true.
somewhere.
True.
I
I
have
mean,
made
I
it a
heard you make
goal.
a promise. I don't know if Nick heard you make a promise, but I heard you make a promise that you were going to finish it.
Yeah, that's what this is. This is like Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever. This is my version of AA. But
Are
it's
you
like,
going to 100% finish it?
oh,
I mean, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you don't, because it's not too hard to 100%.
as I've seen the like little achievement notifications pop up in the right hand screen of my corner as I do stuff, like the
Do you
trophy.
try not to look at them?
Yeah, well, it's not as noticeable as on PlayStation when you get a trophy or an achievement or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the Steam. Yeah, it is pretty
Yeah.
low key.
So, if you're talking about that type of 100% it, like the achievement itch is starting to come back, and
Yes,
I
this is
think
how it starts.
I might try to like Steam Platinum this, whatever Steam's version of Platinum trophies are. But yeah, I fully intend on completing it story wise. We'll see. We'll see about the 100% completing, but I could see me doing that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of prime for that, for 100%ing that game at least. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how varied like the trophies are different on Steam to PlayStation. I wouldn't imagine they're too different, right?
I would think not, probably. There's just something about achievements and trophies that just literally makes me euphoric. like, Like,
I mean,
dude,
I feel you on that for sure.
I was such a trophy hunter on PlayStation, and then once World of Warcraft introduced achievements into their game, like I was definitely an achievement whore in WoW. And uh yeah, luckily
Right,
League of
yeah.
Legends doesn't really do that, so it's kind of like broken that, but Fallen Order is kind of rekindling that flame, which not sure if that's a good thing yet, but
It is,
yeah.
I think.
So yeah, Nick, what's your next gaming goal if you have one?
Um, I think it is this kind of is a maybe a cheat or it just spreads into a couple other ones, but like play games I already own. I mean, that's a I think always a good one and a maybe a universal one we might all share at some point or another. But it's just hard I think to keep up because there's always those sales and especially
Mhm.
with Steam you can pick up games for a couple bucks sometimes.
Right.
Um or the good like PlayStation sale, get something real cheap there. Like for example, I'll just like throw this one in here as like another point I have, but like I have the new God of War, but I've had it for like a year now because I bought it last winter for like $5 on the
Nice.
PlayStation Store.
Oh
So
man, what a steal! That's the best steal on this episode.
I
$5
know,
for God of War.
yeah,
Wow.
it was crazy. I was like, I haven't even played God of War in 10 years, but I'm like, this looks cool and it's $5. I can't say no.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, that game's for $5. That's insane. I actually, you know what? I think so. When I worked at I don't know if I should say where I worked. When I worked at an unnamed gaming store, we got access to a website that would let you take like classes and you build up points and then you could use those points to buy $5 games. So
Well,
you build up like 3,000 points and then you pay $5 and you get the newest game and they're like new releases. So I think I
Oh
actually got
wow.
it for $5 on that website. It's either
nice.
that or I got it for free because it was a PlayStation website. It's called On PlayStation.
Huh.
And with their bigger releases, they used to give them out to everybody on the site because it's not like a super populated site
Wow.
because it's mainly people that work in retail gaming places. So I
Dang.
think I actually got
That's
it for free,
cool.
and it was like, yeah, it was like the best free game ever.
That would be
Exclusive
amazing.
insider information.
Yeah.
True, true. Don't tell your friends.
Well, luckily no one listens to this show, so we're safe there. Oh man. But yeah, Nick, it's funny because you and I had a conversation with a coworker today who literally said the same thing.
Yeah, that is true.
And I feel like it's something that every gamer falls into because
Right.
you can't pass up a good deal.
Right. And that's really how that backlog starts.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember that really existing before like 2015 when I really got into Steam and everything was much more online, right? It's really easy for them to have sales everywhere now because there's online stores and you can download them right to your console.
Mhm.
It's a different thing to go to the store and be like, "Oh, look, they have a sale," and
Oh
I
no,
happen
I
to pick
I
something
did
up.
that. That's what I did.
Oh yeah, not that it couldn't be done, but
I,
well, maybe I don't know. Yeah, you're a special case.
they always told me I was special.
Yeah, you are. I forget what the thing was. I think maybe the last episode or at some point during the week, there was something that I was like, yeah, this is kind of like out of the norm. You're like, no, that was totally normal for me.
You're gonna have to be way more specific because I feel like
Yeah,
we have
Yeah,
that
right.
conversation all the time.
yeah, yeah. I forget what it was. Maybe I'll remember, but it was pretty good. It was similar to that. You're like, no, 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 yeah. I found all the game deals in the store. I looked at the ad in the
Yeah,
paper.
dude. Ah, dude. GameStop's like buy two get one free,
Hmm.
like pre-owned game that got me every time. So I would come home and I'd have like 25 like PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 games just like sitting by my PlayStation. I'd play like three of them. But
Yeah, but
then
it just runs rampant now because how accessible everything is, and before you know, you have like way too many games not even installed in your Steam, and you're like, I've
Yeah.
never. And Steam tells you how much you've played them, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's their guilt trip, and like, hey, you haven't played this game, but you own it.
Yeah.
But you also haven't even bought all these games. You should buy them. Like,
Yeah,
God damn it.
Steam is the literal worst. Like, oh, you have 70 games in your library? Well, how about this $1.99 game? How about this winter solstice sale? Oh, it's January 7th. Better do a post New Year's sale.
I mean, that's not a bad thing though, especially if $5 games.
Yeah, no, that's
That's
true.
like all the skills I can get.
I did just buy Arkham Knight, like I was saying, for $5. So I mean, that game also is super old, but whatever.
Can I do one more in my round here because it relates so well to this conversation?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Okay.
Before you do though,
Okay.
have either of you guys heard of Humble Bundle Monthly? That's
you
hard
got
to
me
say.
hooked on that.
I have not heard of it.
Okay, so
Don't do it.
That thing started when all of the like monthly subscription things started, where you sign up, you pay a certain amount, and then you get stuff every month.
Right.
This one is for video games, and I think they also have like book ones, but who reads? So you'd pay like I don't know. I think it was like $15. I think a month.
There was different tiers. There's like 3 tiers. There's like I
Okay.
feel like less than 10. There's like the 15-ish and like a 25 maybe.
Okay,
30.
I think I did the 15. I did this
Yeah.
for like 2 or 3 months, but you would get like 2 not very new, but like also not super old, like bigger titled games, and then like 15 indie games for free. Well, not for free, but for your whatever your monthly sub was every month. And they would give you the Steam keys, and then you go download and install them or whatever. So like I ended up getting Ark, South Park Stick of Truth. I forget some of the other ones. Those were like the 2 bigger ones. Wasteland 2, games like that, and then like like my whole Steam library is basically because of Humble Bundle Monthly, and I only did it for like 2 or 3 months. But it was really cool. Like I enjoyed it. It wasn't very expensive, and I got a crap load of games. But it just, to Nick's point, like I have like 80% of my Steam library is completely untouched because of that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have the same problem on PlayStation because they do PlayStation Plus games every month.
Oh yeah, I remember
So
that.
it's almost the exact same thing you're talking about. You pay monthly for their thing, and they give you 2 free games every month. But like back when it was like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and the Vita, it was like I couldn't keep up. I was just getting so many games, and now I think my PlayStation Plus thing has like 300 something games in it that I didn't pay for, and they're not like sometimes they're no name games that you've never heard of, but sometimes they're God of War, Call of Duty, whatever.
Right.
So
Yeah. Man, I miss PlayStation Plus. It was so good because the games they gave you were really good, like you were saying.
right.
I think Battlefront 2 is this month's or something like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that actually.
So I'm looking here at Humble Bundle Monthly,
Oh no.
and I think it's $12 a month.
That sounds right. Wasn't there 3 tiers of games too? Like indie,
Yeah.
not so popular games, but kind of good, and then like the AAA kind of titles.
So like here, from November 2020, Darksiders 3 and Yakuza were like the 2 big ones.
I've always wanted to play those Yakuza games, but
Tropico 6 was October.
Mm-hmm.
That new vampire game was from August. It's literally called Vampire. But I remember seeing things for it. I wasn't just saying the name of a game that I didn't.
That new Vampire game.
No, it's literally called Vampire. January of this year, this month's bundle, Humble Bundle Monthly. If you'd like to sponsor our podcast, you can email us at showboyspodcast@gmail.com. PC building simulator, because that's exactly what I want to do when I'm playing games.
Dude, that's so sweet.
And Ancestors, plus a whole slew of other games. But anyways, yeah, it's actually a pretty cool site, and like I really enjoyed it while I did it. I just like got way too many games, and I was like, I really need to stop spending money on this because I'm not playing them.
Well, what you end up doing though too is you're like, oh, I actually want that game. I don't mind having that game.
Right.
So I'm just gonna buy it for these 2 games, and that kind of justifies the $12.
Yeah.
Or just one of the games could justify $12.
Right.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
But yeah, what was the one that you wanted to tie into there before I derailed you?
Yeah, well, speaking of deals, so on Steam, if you buy any of these games, it'll show up in your library as the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis Classics. So essentially what that is it's a game. I almost feel like its software was designed for one of those newer, like the new NES where you just really plug it in and it just kind of plays all the old NES games, kind of like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, right now they're having a sale for like I think all the games in this thing, and there's 58 of them, and you can get it for $30. And it's just all these old school Sega games that just goes on and on and on and on. And I bought it. I stumbled upon this because for 99 cents you can buy Shining Force. I don't know if you ever heard or ever played that.
I have not, no.
Sounds familiar.
It kind of like a top-down dungeon crawler RPG, and then turn-based like combat, kind of like pick your moves and kind of executes that way.
Style.
Yeah, but like Sega, yeah, exactly.
It looks pretty sweet though, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm looking at it right now. It kind of reminds me of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, the Steam reviews just basically call it like one of the most classic old school RPGs ever. And I think it was originally just all Japanese, and it was eventually ported into English. But I got this on that like $10 at Walmart disc of like 20 Sega classics back in like the 2000s, and I remember playing this, and it was like really good. But that was before I understood like even what like these kind of games were, or really RPGs in general. It was really just like probably like one of the games I branched out after Age of Empires, and I didn't even think anything of it. And then it just always I would always think about this game from time to time, and then for some reason, once again, I thought of it, and I was like, I wonder if that's on Steam. And then I stumble into this just like beehive. But I went to buy it, but they're like, hey, complete your bundle. It's only $30. And I'm like, 58 games, $30. That's maybe. But then all of a sudden, be like, my library is now twice as large or something.
Right.
Do it. It's like
it's
like $2 a game.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
right
always
now,
fun to have those older games to go back and play, though. So I think it's well worth the $30.
Yeah,
wow.
So I mean,
I can't do math because it's not $2 a game. It's like
easy there, buddy.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Rip.
Close. You were close.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shining Force. I wanna revisit this classic of my long lost past.
It's actually 52 cents a game.
Did you pull out the calculator on your phone?
I did. Well,
I think you have a calculator in your desk. Oh, okay.
I would have an actual calculator on my desk, but I don't.
You laymen usually do sometimes.
Yeah, we're a strange breed. But yeah, as your friend, Nick, I would say just do it, man.
It might get in the way of Fallen Order.
Oh, yeah.
Just for like 5 hours, though.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
just don't do it. Never mind. Terrible number 30.
Yeah, this is a bad goal.
Bad goal.
That one out.
All your goals suck because Fallen Order isn't all of them.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Yeah, but if you get Fallen Order, you could do like a spoiler cast and talk about the story at the end and stuff. It'd be sweet.
Yes.
Well, okay. I mean, so let's go back to Fallen Order real quick. not to make this all about Star Wars, like all of our other
Dude,
episodes in the
we're
past.
literally
I feel like we always do.
we're gonna
every
change
time I'm on
our
here.
yeah, we're gonna change. Well, it's not just when you're on here. It's literally been
Just
like
every episode.
since Mandalorian. Like we've just become the Star Boys.
I mean, that's a legit group of like.
Not to be confused with the
Yeah.
motorcycle stuntmen in Northeast Ohio, but
It's their nerdier cousins.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh man, no, but here's part of my dilemma is obviously I think I missed the Steam sale, but it's not too, it's not too late to do anything rash. But part of my dilemma is I would like to have it on PC to like have it there forever, right? In like Steam library, and I can obviously play with the controller still on my computer, but there's something that calls me to buy it on my PlayStation because that's where I would play a game like that is on my PlayStation. Obviously, bigger TV, just a more grounded experience. I get to sit in a comfier chair, stuff like that.
Right.
So,
yeah,
should I just buy it on the PlayStation 4?
Yeah, I think it's a PlayStation 4 game, man. We talked about this last time I was on here. I'm not real big into PC games, but there are some games that are just made for the bigger TV and for the PlayStation, and I think that's one of them for sure.
Did you play it on the PlayStation?
Did I?
Yeah.
Yes, I played it on the PlayStation. And I actually put it in after Mike texted me to say that he started it. I put it back in on the PlayStation 5, and it looks fantastic on the PlayStation 5. I don't remember it looking that good on the PlayStation 4. Maybe it's just in my head. I know the PS5 boosts games, like a lot of PS4 games are running at 60 FPS now, which is like a noticeable difference if you're always playing games in 30 FPS. But yeah, I think it's a console game, man. There's just some that are like Steam to me is good for like the old Star Wars games, like Jedi Outcast. I would never buy Jedi Outcast on a console because it's like I'd play that game so much with a mouse and keyboard that I couldn't play it with a controller, you know?
Right.
But it's not as like it's definitely a PS4 game. That's the way I'd go.
Yeah, and part of my argument was like, well, if I get on the PC, I can crank all the graphics up and it can look real sweet. But I'm losing the couch potato, big screen, just kind of like stuck feel. And then I was like also thinking, I played Horizon Zero Dawn. That game's older than Fallen Order, and it was beautiful and wonderful on the PlayStation. Yeah. So I kind of equated it there. So I think that's where I'm trending. I might buy that tonight just to seal that in because that sale ends on the 9th.
Nick, as your friend, I just say, just do it, man.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's the best Star Wars game in years, if not ever, that I've ever played. So they're
while you're here, I've been wondering, have you played Dark Forces 1 or 2, like from 1995?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the progression of Jedi Outcast, isn't it? I think Jedi Outcast is like the 3rd or 4th game in that series.
I don't think I did not know that. But that came back into my memory because of the Mandalorian and the Dark Troopers, and I was kind of trying to explain to Mike like where those come from. Yeah. And I completely forgot about those games, and I'm like, wow, they are sticking to it here. Like they basically just pulled those out of Legends, stuck them in canon, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah. So I totally forgot about that too until you just said something about it. But Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight 2 is a sequel to Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, those games are good, man. I picked it up in a similar pack like you were just talking about with like all the old school Star Wars games, and it came with all the Dark Forces games.
Yeah, so, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that's it. That was we probably picked up the same exact bundle.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it, yeah.
Okay.
But like they don't make I kind of feel like and it's not, I was going to say to a point, it's detrimental to Star Wars to be stuck at EA. I don't think it's like that's the worst studio that could have the Star Wars.
Dude, I was literally having this conversation with my friend Ryan like a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's just like just doesn't fit, you know? It just
No.
doesn't fit. They make sports games, and outside of that, they have a few games that are okay that aren't sports games, but Fallen Order was the first one for me that I was like, okay, well, at least they're trending in the right way, because Star Wars Battlefront, the newer one, and Battlefront 2, they're fun, but they're fun for like if
5
you're into
seconds.
multiplayer games or a couple hours, right?
Yeah. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but my buddy was telling me that the dev team that did Fallen Order is working on a new and different IP. So
I really hope that's not true, because I mean, it wouldn't
Wasn't it a
surprise me
different
at all.
studio though? Wasn't it a different like sub studio that did
I
it?
I am not certain, so I don't want to
Yeah,
like
yeah, I'll look it up here for a second because it's slipping my mind right now. But it
but
was Respawn Entertainment was the
Yeah.
subs.
he told me that and I like instantly got real sad. So I was like,
Yeah, you know what? I think that you're right, because I thought I remembered reading that they were working on some. Oh yeah, that so they developed Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, which came out in December, and it's a VR Medal of Honor game. So that might be what he was thinking of. But
wow, I'm so glad they decided to do that instead of
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I gotta think, if you looking at at the Fallen Order sales numbers, they're gonna make a sequel. Like it's just it's a no brainer.
yeah.
And I think people paid with their wallet, gave their opinion with their wallet on that one for sure.
Yeah. And to go on a somewhat related sidebar here is like I don't know if you guys watch Hot Ones at all. I know Nick occasionally does. I haven't in a while, but from Joseph Gordon-Levitt's episode of Hot Ones, he had a quote that has been circulating around, and I believe you might have posted it on Facebook, Chad. But basically saying that the future of storytelling is in video games, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've kind of like felt that way for well, basically since I played the first Uncharted game, and like really felt that way after playing The Last of Us.
Oh man, yeah. I mean,
So
that's the prime example for that quote, The Last of Us.
yeah,
Like if you're gonna
and
point someone to prove that quote that he says, you're gonna point them to The Last of Us.
yeah, and there's just something unique with the medium of video games and how you're able to tell your story.
Right.
That like man, I would love to see more Star Wars stories
Oh
through
yeah, for
video
sure.
games.
Well,
And
Well,
then
it's
I think that's
just
going to complicate the whole Star Wars gaming if they continue doing Fallen Order type games. Is that they're going to use those stories and those characters, right? Because they're going to use them as another medium for storytelling and building that all out. So I
exactly,
feel like,
that's what I want.
oh yeah, but I think it's going to not help the cause to make more and more Star Wars games, because they're going to. I mean, it's going to help and not help at the same time, if that makes sense, because it has to fit into these other stories they're telling at some point. I feel like they're going to do that. So it's part of
Mhm.
like the bigger, like the MCU, right? Their
Right.
timeline. So I feel like these games might get stuck in like these different phases, and they're not going to slam out like sequel after sequel. Not sure, but
Yeah.
it has to be considered.
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
I think
agree.
you're right.
Um,
I think the big thing for I'd have to do research on this, but there was a Star Wars game that was supposed to come out called 1313. I don't know if you guys
Yes.
ever saw the trailer for it. So
Yeah. Big
it
sad.
almost, yeah, oh man, it looked so good, but
wasn't that the
it
one that they were
almost,
talking about before the Fallen Order came out?
Yeah.
Wasn't there
yeah,
like a
yeah.
big
So
open world type Star Wars
It was
game
right
no,
when
that
about like
was
Disney. No, well,
that's a different
1313 or
one.
whatever was right when Disney acquired Lucasfilm.
hmm,
So it was in development, and that was back when Disney was just like, all right, scratch everything for now until we
Scratch
figure
it,
out
yeah.
what we're doing. So that's where that
uh,
fell. But I
okay,
But
so
feel
I'm
like they
thinking of
used
something
components
else.
of it.
if you
Okay.
go back and watch that 1313 trailer, it almost seems like Jedi Fallen Order was like the natural progression of that game, where
Hmm.
Disney
I could see
came
it.
in and and said nobody wants to play as a bounty hunter, which they're wrong. I would have loved to play as a bounty hunter, but they want to play as a Jedi. And then I mean, even in the trailer, he's climbing like Uncharted and everything. So I, I think it's a totally different studio. I think they like totally wiped that studio out. So I don't know if like Respawn hired some of those guys and it was like a natural progression of it or what. But man, that game looks so good.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. Sounds dope. So Chad, continue on with your next gaming goal, please.
So you both kind of dabbled onto my next gaming goal, and there's two of them that I'm going to put together because they work kind of against each other. And one is to not get a huge backlog of games this year, where I get to the end of the year and I've, only played 10 games and I have 30 that I haven't played. And then the other side is trying to platinum every game that I play. And those kind of
boy.
work you know what I mean? They don't work very well together.
Yeah.
So, and I also
Quantity
have, like,
over quality.
Right, yeah. And I also have a problem like going back to games that I've already platinumed. So like Fallen Order was a perfect example. I platinumed that game, and then Mike told me he was playing it. I was like, oh, I might as well pop it in the PS5. I was kind of going through like my PS4 library to see what looked significantly better on the PS5.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played that for a little bit, and Jedi Fallen Order's combat makes me want to play Sekiro, which is a samurai game, because it's very similar combat and it's significantly better in my mind in Sekiro. And that's another game that I platinumed. So it's like I have this huge backlog of games that I'm not getting to because I'm just going back and forth between games I've already platinumed.
Yeah.
So I'd like to cut that out entirely, but it's hard to platinum some of these games because I feel like the trophy hunting thing for me was never a thing until Spider-Man on the PS4 came out. And that was the first game that when I finished it, I was like 90% trophies. And I was like, oh man, this could be my first platinum. It's the first 100% I'll ever get. And it's wild to think because I've been playing games since I was like 10 and I've never 100% at a game. But I had a lot of games that were pretty close to 100%. I just never did them. And then once I did Spider-Man, it was like every game after that, I'm trying to get the platinum. And it's just the better way to play the game, I think. I think you get your money's worth out of it. You're seeing and doing everything that's in there for the most part. So if I go ahead.
2 sidebars on what you just said.
Okay.
One, Horizon Zero Dawn is the first thing on the PlayStation 4 I've platinumed. That was
Nice.
fun. But what was the samurai game you said?
So it's called Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and it is a Dark Souls game from the same studio, From Software. I don't know if have either of you ever played any of the Dark Souls or Demon Souls games.
Mm-hmm.
You have?
Yeah, not to completion though.
So it is Dark Souls ended with Dark Souls 3, which came out in 2016 maybe. And this is like their new IP that they came out with. But let me take this sidebar to another sidebar real quick because this is kind of a funny story how I got started on this game. So I had never played a Dark Souls game in my life, and they always kind of intimidated me because they're known for being ridiculously difficult. So I really, really was itching for a samurai game, and there's nothing. Not recently. There's PS2 games I could have went and played, but there was nothing but Sekiro, and it had just came out. I was like, you know what, whatever. I'll just try it. So I bought it from GameStop, took it home, and I got obliterated in it for like a solid straight hour, and then I returned it. I was like, I can't do it. It's just going to frustrate me, and it's not worth my time. And then it like kind of sat in the back of my head for like weeks. I was like, man, screw this game. Like, I'm not going to let this game beat me. So then I went back and got it, and then I became obsessed with it. and now I'm like really, really, really good at it and really obsessed with it. But
Nice.
it's fantastic. From Software games are difficult, but they're fair. So it's not like old school Lion King difficult where it's just like completely
Oh,
unfair and it's like who even made this level? I can't even get past it. There's no way to get past
right.
it. So it's always
Ah,
like when you fail in a Dark Souls game, it's your fault.
yeah,
It's not the game's
you know
fault.
why. Yeah.
Right.
That Lion King game brings back memories. That game and Aladdin. Oh,
Oh
anyways,
man, yeah, those were
I while you guys were talking, I was trying to rack my brain about what the first game I platinumed was, and like I couldn't really think. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I can like sign into my PlayStation account like online and look at my stuff, and I couldn't because I can't remember my password or whatever.
oh, there you
Um,
go.
yeah, but I feel like I want to say it was the first Uncharted game. What came out first, Uncharted or the
I feel
first
like you
Arkham game?
I feel like I think the Arkham game, but I feel like last time we were on here you said that it was the first Uncharted.
I think that was the one. I think you're right. I think it was that first Uncharted game, and then like it all went downhill from there because I was like, I got to do this to every game. So I ended up
Right.
doing like Resident Evil 5, all the Batman games except Night because I never played it, all the Uncharted games except for all the Uncharted games I played. It was so bad. Two little stories here. Have you ever platinumed a sports game?
No.
Ew.
Because I platinumed a Madden game. That's how bad
Oh
it
my
was.
goodness. Wow. That's got to be
So
rough, man,
sorry.
because there's some hard trophies on there, aren't there?
Yeah, I vividly remember having my brother come to my house and or no, I think I might have done this myself, but the last trophy I needed was to like return a kick for a touchdown. And I basically had two controllers going and I would switch to the defender and like just run him off the screen while like running with the other guy, and it took me so many tries, like I finally did it, and I was like, I don't care if I cheated. That was probably harder than actually just running a kickback for a touchdown like
Right.
naturally.
Controlling two different teams at the same time, yeah.
Yes.
You made that more difficult than it probably needed to be.
Yeah. um and then the second one is this is oh god, why am I like this? This is how dedicated I was to getting trophies, okay? I had a week of paid time off at an old job that I, you know, needed to use before the year ended, and it was while I when in the time of me being married. But Becca and I didn't really have anything to do, so I just had like these 5 days I needed to take off. So my friend that I referenced in the the Star Wars the Fallen Order dev team news, um, I timed my vacation with like I took that vacation time a week before that friend went back to college. I say went back; he went to Malone, so it's not like he like went anywhere, but like he had classes. So that first week before his classes started, I took my vacation. He came to my house Monday through Friday from 10 to 5 while my wife was at work, and we got we got a platinum trophy in DC Universe Online
Oh, wow.
in 5 days.
Wow.
And then neither of us have played that game since.
You're right.
Which really sucks because it was super fun. It was like an MMO, but you were
Yeah, I
a
remember it.
superhero or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, trophies. That's why I kind of don't want to go back down that rabbit hole.
Oh man, it's a fun rabbit hole to be down though. So
It's so fun.
did you have interest in Sekiro? Is that what you asked about it?
So at first I thought you were talking about Ghosts of Tsushima.
Tsushima, yeah.
But now I know you're not. But now I'm interested in Sekiro. But I'm also been interested in that Ghost
Yeah,
game.
Ghost is really, really good. But so Sekiro came out and that I
2019.
had yeah, 20 so I had an itch for it then. And then I was eagerly awaiting Ghost of Tsushima because it was an open world samurai game, which the Dark Souls games are kind of open world, but not in the sense that we would call them. They're like they're hard to explain. I don't even really know what
I'm looking at the
they're kind
videos.
of like. Yeah, they're kind of like Fallen Order, where you're like
Yeah.
you go
Open
from a open
environments.
area. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Ghost of Tsushima is really good. It's a fantastic game. I prefer Sekiro, but it's because I've become so accustomed to that combat that other games that try to emulate it just don't do it for me. And that was one of my issues with Fallen Order is Fallen Order tried to emulate that combat, but it just wasn't as responsive as it is in Sekiro. It's
I mean, it
I don't
got
know how
Game
to
of the
explain.
Year, which I
Yeah.
completely eclipsed my
Yeah.
mind that year. I don't know what I was doing, not playing games, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely well deserved. It's I don't know, man. I love it. And that probably will remain the hardest game I've ever platinumed. By I mean, it's in a totally different category as far as platinum trophies go.
Well,
That's pretty insane.
yeah. I mean, if you platinumed it, it must not be terrible, or you're really good, or you got really good at that game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I got really, really good at that game, but it took me a lot of punishment. I mean, the first the first main big boss that you get to in that game, his name is Genichiro, and he's like a samurai. And that guy, he whooped me probably 42 times before I beat him, and it's no exaggeration whatsoever. He obliterated me. But it's like
Crazy.
it's I had never played a game like that before, so I didn't know how punishing it was, you know. So it's not like you can't strong arm your way through that game. You have to play very strategically, and it's weird to say because it's a samurai game, but it's almost like a rhythm game because you have like attacks and deflects, and you're like weaving them in between deflecting their attacks and attacking. It's just oh,
That sounds exactly how a samurai game should be.
it really does. As far as sword combat in a video game, no game that I have played has felt as amazing sword combat wise as Sekiro does. Once you get the hang of it, when you're first playing it, you're like, "Holy crap! There's no way that this is ever going to happen." But once you get the rhythm down, like I said, it's a rhythm game, so it's definitely worth picking up, and it's probably pretty cheap now.
Steam, here we go.
Yeah, and if you get the Steam version, you can get like a bunch of modded suits and stuff, and that's like kind of what I was jealous of. I almost bought it. I almost bought it on Steam just so I could get the modded outfits and all that stuff.
PlayStation Store, $38. Steam, $60.
Oh wow,
Oh wow!
interesting.
You know what?
It's got the Game of the Year tag, so it's holding up.
Yeah, and I think it might have launched a little bit later on the PC.
Makes sense.
Rip.
So,
We got what's your third? Is that where we're at?
no, we're still on second, actually.
Okay. Well, so far
But-
me and Chad have done second and third.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do the same thing because I should have lumped this in with my first one. Actually, I don't know why I didn't, but another goal of mine is to chip away at more story-centric single-player games, like
There you
for
go.
example, Arkham Knight, because I just bought it, and I never got to play it when I first had it. And I love the Batman games. You know, Fallen Order made me think of the Arkham games, and then I saw it on sale for $5. I was like, "What the heck? It's Destiny!"
Right.
So I got it, and then I also noticed that Horizon Zero Dawn is now on Steam. It's still like I think like $30 on sale right now. So I'll probably wait a little longer, see if I can get it a little cheaper. But games like that, you know, I loved those games, those styles of games before League of Legends. Now I just have to like get back into them, and I've really been enjoying Fallen Order, so I know I'll have fun with games like those. But the other goal here is to get completely immersed in New World when and if it ever releases. So, if I think our first uh, video game episode, Nick, was actually on New World, right? Was that the first one we did?
It was. It was.
Yeah. So, if you don't know what New World is, please go listen to the New World episode. I think it was like our third ever episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a new MMO coming out, made by Amazon Game Studios, and it's been delayed, I think, 3 times. Is that right?
We might be cusping 4
Okay.
times.
Yeah, and Nick and I
Official
both
times.
we both got into the it wasn't even a beta, it was just like literally a test, a week-long test. um Over the summer, I think it was like the end of August, maybe the first week of September. We got to play it for, a week, and I had a lot of fun. I mean, of course, it had its issues, and it definitely needed to be delayed. But I really enjoyed what I got to experience in that short period of time, and it's it's not like World of Warcraft. It's a different kind of MMO, and it's the kind that like I'm desiring at this moment, if that makes sense. But it was like absolutely gorgeous and very immersive in like sound effects and environment, and I'm ready for a game like that to just kind of like get sucked into and yeah, be sandboxy and just kind of like live in a new world. But yeah, that's probably, I would say, my biggest goal if the game actually releases.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. Um, it, and confusing at the same time because there's like knights and like revolutionary soldiers. I don't know if
Yeah,
these are all this. Okay.
yeah. No,
So
it's like that's the other
It's
thing too, is like Nick and I have this like fascination with period pieces. Um and
yeah,
it like also falls into that category. So,
right, right.
um but yeah, it's like some weird like kind of colonial.
it's like 1600, 1700-ish kind of technology. Then
Yeah.
they throw magic in there on this island, and you get all
Yeah.
kinds of goofy stuff.
And dude, just
Yeah.
like chopping the dang trees down is so satisfying in like every aspect of my soul. Like it's like the sound is so good. The sound design in that game is so good. Just the sound of my axe hitting the tree, and then when it chops down, like the tree literally falls over, and everyone can see that that's the tree that I chopped down because it falls over for everyone. And it makes a really
Yeah.
cool sound effect when it falls over, and then it's just gone for a while for everyone. And
And
like just little things like that, it's just like, this is what I need in my life.
yeah, and in theory, if they keep up with all the mechanics they plan on doing, just being a dedicated tree chopper is contributing to the overall meta of the game.
Yeah.
So
Oh wow,
that's all you want to do.
that's
God bless
cool.
you, and thank you for the effort.
Yeah,
You
like
are the number one tree chopper in the settlement.
right.
That's
Like
awesome.
there's just like so much progression, and you can like there's not really anything locking you out of doing any specific thing. And like Nick said, um the kind of like core mechanic of the game is there's 3 factions, and they kind of like vie for control of these settlements and forts and whatnot. And when your faction controls it, all of the things you do, like gathering resources, contribute to like keeping it in your faction's ownership. And if you're not in that faction, all the things you do, work it towards becoming like able to be fought for. And then there's like huge PvP battles for control of these forts, and it's
Yeah,
just
that sounds awesome, man. Because I'm rewatching Game of Thrones right now, and it's really kind of you're kind of itching that
yeah,
you're scratching that itch.
yeah.
It
It
looks really really
definitely
cool.
it really did warrant being delayed again because it was pretty incomplete. and the game's direction has changed pretty drastically from when it was announced of pretty much being solely PvP based to now like probably 50-50, maybe 60-40 PvP versus PvE. So like the PvE stuff was not fleshed out at all, and like end game stuff kind of wasn't there. And the premise is there, and if they're able to execute on it, I think it'll be a great game and be really fun. Um, so long
it
as
looks
they
really
don't
cool.
keep changing their minds.
I mean, delays are always good. Like any time that a game gets delayed, it typically turns out to be a good thing.
Tell
The
that to the
notable
Star Citizen
exception,
community.
yeah, right. Notable exception being Cyberpunk 2077, which was delayed like a colossal amount of times to the point where I was almost like, I'm not buying this game because they're delaying it so much. And then it came out and it's a total
Wasn't it
nightmare.
like super
So
buggy?
yeah, it's like real. Yeah, it's really really buggy. It's really buggy. It
So
doesn't run on last gen. Like
Oh wow.
it looks awful on last gen consoles, PS4 and Xbox One. So
worse than Fallout 76.
yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably maybe equal to Fallout 76 from what I've seen.
That's gross.
So
That is very gross.
I mean, I was like, as the game was releasing, I was amped for it because I was like, they've delayed it like 6 times. It's got to be perfect now. It's the people that made Witcher, which is like one of my favorite games of all time. And the complete opposite happened. So I'm kind of a little heartbroken of it. I've not bought it yet. I want to wait until it's patched up and so I can actually experience it the way that they want you to experience it, not the, nightmare that's going on right now. But that's the downside of delayed games.
Yeah. The thing that gives me hope is it seems like they're taking the feedback to heart and trying to make changes based on feedback, which is a good sign. Plus, it's Amazon that literally can print their own money. So, like, I don't think that's
True,
a worry or a concern. And that's also a positive in regards to if the game does release and like has somewhat of a following, like I feel like it will live on for a while, like they'll pump out updates and keep it fresh and keep developing it as an MMO should, because they have the backing of Amazon, right? So
right. Yeah, true.
I'm kind of hopeful in those regards, but yeah, that's probably my next one, and I think I only have one more. How many more do you guys have?
Maybe like 3. Nothing too crazy though. Those are the big ones.
I got one more.
Okay. So Nick, why don't you knock out all 3 of yours here?
Okay, I can do that. I want to finish the expansions to Assassin's Creed Origins. I've made very close progression to platinuming the base game, but then started working on the first expansion. So there's still more there I want to dig in, just because that game's beautiful. It's my favorite Assassin's Creed game since like the second one, and it's just a lot of fun. So I want to work toward just completing all of that, which has been a slow chip for the past like 2 years. And then probably look to getting Valhalla, and I might still skip Odyssey overall. But definitely
I think
Assassin's
that's probably
Creed.
that's a good move if you ask me. I think Valhalla was fun. I didn't like Odyssey personally.
Okay, good. You played both.
Yeah. I played a pretty decent amount of Odyssey, but Valhalla, I don't know. Valhalla just feels so much better. Like the combat's so much better. Odyssey almost feels like World of Warcraft in a way where you're like when you're hitting people, it doesn't feel like you're making actual contact with them. And you're just chipping away at a bar. You know what I mean? And for the most part, I can't stand games that are like that. Like I want to hear metal clashing and flesh ripping and that kind of stuff, and it's just not there. And Valhalla kind of fixed that a little bit for me.
Sounds like they dumbed up the Origins hitbox then, because they introduced the hitbox in Origins. So it sounds like they just made it like really big and
Yeah,
Odyssey.
that might be it. That might be it.
Um,
But go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's fine. No, yeah, because I had after liking Origins so much, my like Assassin's Creed Spidey senses went off, and I was like, I have a feeling Odyssey is going to be a miss, and I'm gonna not like it as much because to me that's how the Assassin's Creed games go. Like every other
Yep.
one is like good.
Good.
So I remember after playing like Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood, obviously those are right together. I just treat that as like a larger 2 phase that they're
Right.
in.
Yeah.
Then Assassin's Creed 3, I got that and it was like okay, and I never really stuck with it, and I didn't play anything until Origins.
Yeah,
But I hear
I've never played.
Black Flag was good. I heard
Black Flag was really good. But if you remove the pirate theme from it, it's not good. You know what I mean? It's just because you're a pirate. It's the only game that you can be like a pirate in, besides like Sea of Thieves or something ridiculous like that. But I didn't play Origins, so I don't know if Origins combat is similar to Odyssey. But I don't know. Valhalla feels much better to me. It's beautiful on the PS5, and it's very Game of Thronesy. So that's what really got me.
Nice.
I'm watching the show, and it like flowed perfectly with it.
Yeah, to me, Origins it's just so well nestled in like the PS4 performance, and just as a console, it's just a very grounded game, and you can pick it up and know what you're expecting to get into and just have fun in it. And do all the Assassin's Creed type stuff you want to do, and also see a very accurate and beautiful Egypt, historically accurate. So no, yeah, okay. I'll take your word on that and just skip Odyssey like I have been since it came out. I won't get tricked into that.
Good choice.
The Wolfenstein series, I bought those, the new reboots of them, on sale here I think in November, and I want to play through those. And then the Dead Space ones that Mike has insisted I play, and I've owned them since. Let me see when. I think that might have been a Humble Bundle or some other crazy.
How's your playthrough through the first one going?
I haven't made any progress really in a while. 2016, I bought both of them probably for like $10.
Nice.
And I'm just now playing the first one under Mike's strong recommendation.
Dude, it's so good.
I don't know. I feel like I need to play that on the weekend because I want to relax too much on the weeknights sometimes, and that is not a relaxing game for me.
No, it's not.
Right.
Like I could play like 20-30 minutes maybe like on a weeknight before I'm like, all right, I need to go to bed, or like I just need to stop. I need to go watch like a sitcom and just like give my anxiety a rest. Oh man.
Yeah, no, that's not that's a very tense and stressful game. It's worth it though.
I regretfully have never played. There are a few series that I never played from that generation. Dead Space is one of them, and Mass Effect is the other ones.
Dude, just play the first Dead Space. Like 2 was good, 3 sucked, but like the first Dead Space, everyone needs to play that game.
Play the first 2 Mass Effects, and 3 if you really like them.
Yeah. That I briefly played Andromeda, and I didn't know at the time that Andromeda was like awful. So I was like, man, I don't see what the hype is here, but
there's not a 2021 goal. There is that game gave me a like lifelong gaming goal, and that is to not ever buy day one full price deluxe edition of a game, because I got seriously burned on Andromeda, and I tried to play it. I tried to like it. I got pretty far in it, but it just died for me. I got to some of the like planets where I was like open world doing stuff, and it was just busted.
Yeah, it that, and it just doesn't have like a soul to it.
No, yeah, it's just
You know what I
it's
mean? That's how it
yeah,
feels.
it's just playing like a bunch of pixels, and
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
feel that you are just in this very thin boundary,
Empty world.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's hollow for sure.
Yeah, and I can't stand. I love open world games, but I can't stand open world games that are like fluffed with the size of the map, and then it's just emptiness.
I mean, I
Like I'd
legit
rather
fell
have
through the map and saw the
yeah.
empty underside of the map.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
hurt me.
But it's just like I want to like The Witcher 3. Well, finish yours because that's my final thing. We'll talk about that when we get there.
No, I think that's really it. And then I just had like a little sub one, and that's to play a different Total War game other than Rome 2. Just
Nerd.
because I play way too much Rome 2, and they came out with the Shogun one, so it's set in Japan, so another samurai theme.
Oh man,
But I've heard like
that
mixed
sounds
things,
sick.
so I don't know. I hear people like it, I hear people don't. I'm just too comfortable with Rome 2, so probably if there's like another big sale like there just was, I'll probably try to scoop up something. But I don't know. Rome 2 is just like it doesn't fail me. I know what I'm going to play when I do that.
Right? Yeah. All right.
Um,
Who's next?
yeah,
I think it would be you, Sir
Me?
Chad.
So my final goal, and it's one that I've been working on since the game came out. I want to get as close as possible to complete 100%ing The Witcher 3. And it's just it's like, I mean, I'd have to look up the quest like numbers, but it's absurd how much stuff is in this game. Like I've been chipping away at it since it came out, and I have to let me double check when The Witcher 3 came out. But it's just like
15.
yeah, yeah. And
Right.
every couple of months, when there's like a break in games that are coming out, I go back and I knock out 50 side quests, and it doesn't even put a dent. I'm not kidding. It doesn't even put a dent in the map. Like there's so many question marks on it, which is not a bad thing, but for me, especially where I'm at now, like if this game came out 10 years ago, I wouldn't have cared. But now I'm like on the platinum, I want to do
Yeah.
everything in the game, and this is like it's such a nightmare, this game, trying to get everything together. But the cool thing about it is that it's not fluff. Like a lot of the side quests, there are side quests that I've done that are like significantly better than the main quests of the game.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, it's super cool, man. I really wish I could 100% it, but this might be, if we do 2025, this might still be my goal in 2025 to 100% this
It's a
game.
lifelong goal.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, I
That-
do wonder. So as someone who is trying to 100% that game, has been playing it 5 years on and off. I have played it. I started playing it this year because I got it cheap on Steam. I think Mike and I both got like all three of them for like $3 or something.
Yeah,
like
some
years
absurdly
ago.
cheap, like under $10 for sure for all three of them.
Right. So I've played 11 hours of it, and my technique is to completely clear a zone and then move on with the story. But something tells me that's not sustainable, and I need to like definitively pick the story. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Chad? Like, how should I approach this game? I'm not gonna 100%. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. So for it, if you're not going to go the 100% route, I think you should just stick to the story, because there's a lot there for the story, and you can pick up a couple side quests and the towns that you're going in to
Right.
kind of break up the
Gotta
story a
level.
little bit. But that's kind of how I do it. It's just cool because it's like you ride into a town, you go up to the clipboard, and then you just clear everything out in the town, and then you leave to the next town. It's just super cool to me. I don't know what it is,
Right.
No, that's
But
my approach in most MMOs.
Right. So
Are
it's
Are you just extra
ahead.
buff every time you come upon like the next boss because you finished all the quests?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the game finishing the story was ridiculously easy, and I probably should have pumped the difficulty up a bit because of that, but I was just there's just so much going on in the game, I didn't even think to pump the difficulty up. that would probably prolong it to 2030 if I bumped the difficulty up, because then I'd be dying every 5
Yeah.
side quests.
So
There's a game that earns its game of the year because that's a lot of play
Oh,
hours.
for sure.
I've heard from
Oh,
everyone.
yeah, I mean,
to get out of this game.
Yeah. And it
The-
came out of left field, really, because
Mm-hmm.
the first 2 Witcher games had their following, but for me, I would have never picked this game up had I not started watching Game of Thrones. And it was right when this game came out is when I started Game of Thrones, and I was looking for a game to go along with it, and this was like coming out in like 2 weeks, and it's perfect for Game of Thrones. Now, like I said, the original ones had their following, but I would never go back and play them. I mean, I don't think they look that good. But
well, I have a
this
story
one,
for you.
okay, go ahead.
No, when you're done. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
So it just came out of left field. I don't think anybody was expecting this game to come out and be really as polished as it was, because it was pretty polished on release, and as massive as it was. It's so congested. Even though I said earlier that I like games where you go to the town and there's like a bunch of vendors and stuff, this one like really overdoes it. But I think that I think that it was just such a curveball to me that I picked up this game. It came in like, the cardboard sleeve over the case. I opened it up. It had a map in it, which I hadn't seen inserts in games in years. It had like a map, a CD, a thank you letter. I was like, this is like how games were when I was a kid when you bought them, They had big
Yeah.
books with all the enemies in it. And
Yeah.
it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And the fact that they put a thank you letter in there, I was like, man,
That is pretty cool.
I don't know who this CD Projekt Red is, but they're nailing it. And then, then they did Cyberpunk and kind of squashed that reputation a little bit. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, like Nick said, picked all 3 up at the same time for really cheap on Steam, and out of principle, because of a dumb argument with a coworker, who
He was
told
heavily
me,
playing the game at the time.
yeah, and
big on
he's
this
like,
game.
Witcher 3 is the best game ever, and it's the best game in the series. And I was like, oh, cool. So you played the first 2? And he was like, no. And I was like, you're an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
how can you say it's the best game in the series if you haven't even played the first 2? And then
Yeah.
I got all 3, and I was like, he's like, so have you started Witcher 3 yet? And I'm like, no, because I'm not an animal. I'm starting with the first one. And yeah, that was a mistake because the first one didn't
Right.
hold up well at all, and it was pretty
Right.
terrible.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and then I like put in the second one and only played it for like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes before I went back to League, and then I never even tried the third one. But it's one of
Oh,
those
man.
games that's just sitting in my Steam library, just
Yeah, I
waiting to
mean,
be played.
Yeah, you owe yourself playing. It's nothing like that, because I think the first 2 are linear games, right? They're not open world.
Correct. They're like top down, kind of like
Right.
Diablo-esque.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
This is it's totally different.
Yeah,
And
they went. Well, I mean, this
Totally, yeah.
one for the first time, Skyrim got replaced as like the goal RPG open world game. This kind of finally took the throne from Skyrim that held it for an equal amount of time so far.
Right. And I think it rightfully did it. I mean, I love Skyrim, but this game surpasses it in my mind in almost every possible way. And it's really it's as deep as you want to make it. If you want to go in and just play the story, like, just go in and just play the story. If you want to do some side quests, if you want to get into the potion mixing and all that stuff, it's as deep as you want to make it, and that's what a good RPG should be, I think.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So I've added that to my list of story-centric single-player games.
Yeah, it's worth it for sure.
I think I just added that to my goal list for the year is play more Witcher 3.
There you go.
Nice.
Did you guys watch the show at all by chance?
Just the
Yes.
first episode.
Okay.
Whole thing.
Did you like it?
I did. I enjoy it.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna check it out at some point.
Yeah, do it. It's gonna be
Dude,
good.
I
You'll
Chad,
enjoy it.
as your friend,
Do
I
it.
just got to tell
Just
you,
do it.
just do it.
I can't seem to stop watching Game of Thrones long enough to watch it. That's my issue. If I'm looking for a show like this, it's Game of Thrones, you know? So
Man,
Dang, bro.
talk about like watching goals. I need to rewatch Game of Thrones
I
in
need
its
to just
entirety.
watch it, period.
like, yeah, I think that
I've never had HBO.
you would probably be just as bad as you are with Star Wars with Game of Thrones. At least I know I am.
I'm sure I would be. It's up there. A friend of mine, government, don't listen. But a friend of mine has allowed me to use their account. So
There you go.
but I'm in the middle
No
of the Star
excuse.
Wars binge, so
I mean, I'm not going to
someday.
fault you for the Star Wars binge, but someday you got to
Quick
get to Game of Thrones.
quick update for you though. Today I finished Clone Wars, the series and the movie.
Oh,
But
nice.
stupidly,
Nice.
I watched the movie after I finished the series.
Right. Backwards. Yeah.
But whatever, who cares? But man, those last 4 episodes, life-changing. They were
Believe it or
so
not,
good.
you're talking the new season?
Yeah, of season
Yeah,
7.
I haven't seen the new season yet.
Oh my god,
I
dude.
know.
Please watch it. It's so
Just
good.
leave right now and go watch.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being on. We'll talk to you next month. No. But yeah,
We will
so
be
good.
having another episode next week that you are on where you tell us how it was because you're
Yeah.
gonna watch them in the next 4 days.
Next week on Star Boys. Yeah. So
Not affiliated with the Motorcycle Gang.
that's right. Exactly. You got to remember that. Don't sue us. Thank you. Yeah. So my last gaming goal here should come as no surprise to anyone who knows me or listens to this podcast.
Diamond League.
I'm not even setting the bar that high, Nick.
Okay.
So my goal is to hit at least platinum, which is the rank right below diamond. The last couple years, I've hit gold. This year, I was like, 4 wins away from hitting platinum, and then ran into a tough streak and was discouraged and decided not to try anymore at the end of the season. But yeah, I want to hit platinum in the solo queue for ranked League of Legends, and they have another ranked queue called Flex where you can play with pre-made groups of 2, 3, or 5 players of your friends. I want to hit gold and Flex, which I never really try in Flex. I use it as like my practice. So those are like my main League of Legends goals, and then I have like sub ones that nobody cares about, like learn a couple new support champions because I play support. The last 2 seasons I've mained a certain champion and played the majority of my games on that one particular champion, probably over 100 games throughout the season on just that one champion. And both seasons on these 2 different champions, I finished with a win rate of over 60%, which is pretty good. So I'm kind of hoping that whatever champion I decide to main this season, that I can hit that positive 60% or higher win rate. But aside from those playing League of Legends goals, if the pro League of Legends season goes back to playing in front of live audiences again, if their playoffs or finals, championships, whatever you want to call them, come anywhere close to Ohio, I want to try to go. Last year, I forget if it was summer or spring, but one of those 2 finals were played in Detroit, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not going because it's only a couple hour drive from here.
Right. Yeah.
And with COVID and everything, they stopped playing in front of live audiences and traveling and having their big playoffs and finals. So hopefully
Yeah, there's probably
they're
a good chance that
yeah
it will, because it'll at least squash some of the
yeah
rumors.
fingers crossed, man, that we get semblance of normal.
Right.
They're super cool, and like if I'm cool videos and world championships, and like they play their regular season finals typically in like basketball arenas and sell it out. It's the equivalent of going to a
Yeah,
basketball game or a baseball
right.
or football game. Whenever a big play happens, on the score from the game, at like the crowd literally goes wild, and like they have play by play really set up as close to traditional in a packed arena with
I think
other
that
people who
it's
enjoy
always
watching.
funny to me when like I work with a
Game.
lot of older
People
people.
do that, always like try to explain normal sports in like the most simplistic way possible.
Like you're watching
all
somebody play a
like
game. It's as simple
it's
as it
the same
gets.
exact thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the the man, what's the word I'm looking for? The sea of esports now is like it's becoming a
Right.
legit thing, uh, revenue wise and viewership wise. I know the last few world championships for League of Legends, which is like basically their Super Bowl where all the best teams from all of their regions or the champion
Yeah.
is crowned. Usually the finals of the world championships, the viewership numbers are higher than like the World Series and NBA finals combined, which is pretty nuts, right? Watching people play video game.
Oh, for sure.
There are
for
more
sure.
people that watch that than the World Series and the NBA finals combined. So I'm just waiting for the day when I can go to like B Dubs and they'll have matches up on one of
Oh,
the
it's
like
coming.
100
Yeah, yeah.
TVs.
Yeah, it's coming
But
because it like we talked about with the quote earlier that video games are the future of storytelling. I think I might have shared it on Facebook, but there was a thing that said that video games now make more money than music and movies combined.
yeah,
And that to me, I was like, holy, like we're here. Like this is the best time to be a gamer, in my opinion.
yeah, and uh, in terms of esports, at least League of Legends, I know most of the other esports leagues, like the organizations make money from winning tournaments. League of Legends does that also, but they also have like tons of sponsorships and like they get paid by Riot too. So the players, like the League of Legends organizations, are also run very similar to traditional sports where the players are paid a salary, they sign contracts, they become free agents, they get traded, there's off seasons, They even have like a minor league system, kind of. But like the player contracts, I know one player, his name is Hooney, recently had like a $2 million contract,
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
to play on a League of Legends team, which is insane. And like a handful of the teams in the North American League are in their investors are like NBA teams. Golden State has a team. The Houston Rockets did invest in a team. The 76ers have invested in a team. Dan Gilbert's financial group has invested in a team called 100
Right.
Thieves, which
Yeah.
makes me really hopeful that maybe one of these finals might be played in Cleveland with, Dan Gilbert being an investor
Right.
in a team. Maybe
Yeah.
they can,
Yeah.
bring something up here, which would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's probably my biggest goal because that's the biggest game I play and follow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I encourage anyone who enjoys watching esports to give the LCS a try. MOBAs are they're very good for spectating, and like it might take you like a couple of games to like learn the point and like be able to really really enjoy it and like know the ins and outs of the game and the strategies and stuff. But compared to like FPS games, MOBAs are definitely the easiest and most enjoyable to watch as a viewer and a fan and like a spectator. So yeah,
Mhm.
give it a try, man. It's really fun, and hopefully you get sucked in, at least in watching. Like I hope you don't get sucked into playing because that's not good for
It's
your
a
health. But
bottomless pit. We've learned that from Mike.
yes,
It's a bottomless pit. Just
yes,
watch.
just watch. Then we can have fun watch parties at my house when Cloud9 plays.
Don't grab the laptop in the alleyway and start playing.
No,
Hmm.
I don't want to be seeing anyone behind dumpsters. Gone down that path.
Yeah, I think it's super cool because the esports they're only going to get bigger, and I think it's just like the people that grew up with video games are starting to get older now. The people that
Right.
didn't are starting to leave the
Right.
earth, if you will. But I just try to say that as polite as possible. But it's just like it. Some people like don't even register. Like they'll be like, "Oh, I don't have time to play video games," and then they sit down and play Angry Birds on their phone or Among Us, and it's like that's a video game, but they don't
Right.
even register it. So
Right.
yeah, I
Or
think
they
esports are going to be the kind of future of the big stadiums, but we'll see.
Yeah, and it's really cool too, because at least again, League of Legends is like really the only esport that I really follow like closely. I keep like tabs on some of the other ones, like the NBA 2K League is pretty fun to watch. Um, just the way it's structured is kind of funny. Like a lot of NBA team cities like have NBA 2K teams. So
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
Cleveland has one, and they have like a legit draft where they draft players.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. I'm not a fan of like playing the games, but it's fun to watch. But um, League of Legends colleges are starting to offer scholarships, and colleges have their own teams, and um, these players that play on collegiate teams, and some of the best amateur players in the world, just in like the solo queue ranking leaderboards and stuff, will get invited to what's called like the scouting grounds, which is a tournament held by Riot for potential future pro players to play in, and they get coached by like LCS coaches,
Yeah.
and then at
Yeah.
the end
So
of the
it's like
tournament,
it's even setting themselves up as
yeah,
regular sports, you know what I
no,
mean?
yeah, exactly. And at the end of the tournament, they have a draft, and the organizations pick players from the scouting grounds that go into their minor league team, and then eventually those minor league players either get promoted up to the main LCS roster, or other teams will buy the players off of the organizations to fill their LCS rosters. It's really cool, and like there definitely is a future, at least in the League of Legends one, for it to become mainstream, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, definitely, man.
But yeah, I think we did have, so every week, whenever we do lists or things like that, I like to put out on social media the same question to our listeners, and so this week I put out a post asking for your gaming goals for 2021, and our friend Jordan, who's been on the show a couple of times, and most recently on our Christmas episode, go check that out. It was really fun. He has a goal to play more Overwatch or Overwatch ranked and to hit diamond. So yeah, best of luck to you, Jordan. I never really got into Overwatch too much myself, but I totally understand the grind of ranked and the allure of getting into the diamond mines, bro. May the force be with you.
Oh gosh, that Star Wars is really rubbing off on you, huh?
You have no idea, dude. I literally
He's
watched
so stuck.
like 3 seasons of Clone Wars in like maybe a week and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did you watch Rebels?
I got through 2 seasons of that, and Nick's like, "Hey, you need to stop and watch the prequels and then watch the Clone
that's
Wars."
valid. Yeah, that's valid.
So yeah, once we get off here, I'll probably do a little nightcap, 1 episode of Rebels, and then go to bed. Yeah, you guys got any last parting words? We're creeping up there on time and got through all of our goals. Had a fun time.
I think this was a good topic. I enjoyed it, and I think it was healthy to do. I might actually get stuff done this year.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're like the brotherhood of traveling pants or whatever. Maybe we can like hold each other accountable and make sure we follow
There you
through
go.
these gaming
It's on
goals.
record now.
I was trying to think of like a gaming type thing instead of saying traveling pants, but my brain doesn't work this late at night. So
I could tell because you brought up traveling pants.
yeah. Yes. All right. Well, if you guys have nothing else to say, we'd just like to say thank you. If you made it this far in the episode, we appreciate you listening, and we ask that you please check out our social media pages. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Showboys Podcast, and our episodes are available on all the major podcasting platforms and also YouTube. And you can find all of those links at linktr.ee/showboyspodcast. We ask that you please follow us on the socials, subscribe to wherever you listen to your podcasts at, and just share our posts and our episodes with your friends. That's the easiest and simplest way to help us grow, and we would greatly appreciate it. So once again, thank you, Chad, for coming on, chatting video games, and being our unofficial official video game guest. We always enjoy having you on.
Yeah, I love being on here, so I'm not gonna lie. I had a blast, and thank you guys for having me again.
No problem. Yeah, that does it. Craig, thank you.
Yes, thank you,
Craig did good, right?
Came back.
Yeah, he did. He's still
clutch.
here. He didn't crawl back into his hole with his laptop, geeking out on some League. That's probably what he is. He picked up the League addiction from Mike. he lasted
right?
all but like 5 episodes, and he's like, all right, I gotta quit.
gotta
I'm
quit.
busy. I got stuff to do. Sorry. Damn you, Craig.
Listen, Craig, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'm so sorry for what I've done to you.
You've made him a junkie.
Yeah, man. Poor Craig. He was just trying to help you guys out in the beginning.
And look
Now he's
what
a
happened.
debilitating addict.
Yep.
Must be
All right.
on. Yeah, I'm done.
So- oh man, I can't wait until we do live streaming stuff. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, that'll be cool, man.
I'm also kind of nervous though because like
It's nerve-wracking being live, I'm not gonna lie. At least I don't do being live very well.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay with it just because like so I do music stuff for
Right.
my church, right? So like I'm up in front of people pretty frequently. But one thing I noticed is like while you guys are talking or whatever, like because I'm not on camera and nobody sees my face, like I'm just looking around or like probably generally just look disinterested if someone was looking at me,
Right,
but like I'm
right.
paying attention to what you guys are saying, so like that's probably gonna look really funny
Yeah.
on camera. So I'm gonna have to like consciously try to look like I'm interested in what Nick's saying.
Wait, is Mike playing League of Legends right now? What is he
Yeah, what?
doing? Why does he keep looking over there?
I mean, if only we were live streaming when you revealed your number one film franchise to me.
Oh my gosh, Nick probably fell out of his chair or pulled out a gun and shot.
Talk
himself.
about looking disinterested. I sounded disinterested for 5 minutes.
What was
you
it?
didn't sound anything. You just didn't I thought you disconnected or something. Just complete silence. But actually, I think that probably would have been hilarious, though.
What was the franchise?
You'll just have to listen to find out.
Go listen to the episodes.
No,
I
just
don't
kidding.
want to hear it again.
Okay.
It's Dad. I hit him with Dad.
Dad?
Yeah.
The online thing?
Didn't we
Yeah.
end this episode already? Jeez.
Yeah.
Hey, I gave a decent explanation.
Did you? I wasn't listening.
Yeah,
Good thing we recorded it.
Nick momentarily committed suicide.
I had to revive myself.
Yeah. Oh man. But like also aside from like occasionally looking disinterested, I like to stand up at times, So like right now I've been standing for like the last 45 minutes of this.
And you don't wear pants.
So it's just gonna like I'm gonna have to like be mindful of all this stuff because right now everyone just be seeing my tum tum.
Right.
nice and big on screen.
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
It's an adjustment.
Save it for the OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. Showboys OnlyFans. That's right. All right. Well, I'm gonna jump off and go watch Rebels.
Yeah, man.
Do
Thanks
it.
for having me
Do it.
again.
Yeah,
no
thanks
problem.
for being on.
We'll see you next month.
Sounds like a plan.
But for real, yeah, I'm not joking. We'll probably see you next month.
Bye, Craig.
Yeah, bye, Craig.